All right, so let's try doing this again. I'm going to focus on one method at a time. So let's say I want to grab all this data and I want to do the class average, something like that. I want to just do the class average. Okay, so one of the things I want you to pay attention to the output. Let's go back here. I'm going to run this again just to get one set of data. Notice right here is if I ask you the data type here, based on what I see right now, this data type is one big string. If you can see right here from quote to single quote, that's really one big string, even though it looks like a JSON data type. So remember what happens is when data is coming from a file, by default, it's just going to be a string. So this is what we have to do. When the line comes out, I'm going to say here, this line number is useless in this example, so I'm going to get rid of that. I'm going to say here, I'll say const JSON. I'll say here JSON parse. And what it's going to do is convert this string into a valid JSON object, and then we will push the JSON object now to here. Now if we run this code again, and I go to report, notice how this doesn't have a single quote now. This is actually JSON data. So this looks a little different. I'll delete this guy right here. And I'll say here node again, and I'll say, I think if I do report JSON, we'll get some color coding. Okay, it's not perfect, but there goes the color coding. Okay, but it's working. I don't know why all these colors are looking weird, but it looks like it's okay. Okay, but it's actually JSON data. So now what this allows me to do here, let's do some other type of work here. I'm going to do a body of work here. Let's do here. And what's going to happen here is at the end, I'll have access to the entire array. So E is going to represent this array that's being passed here. And that's going to be a rows of data here. So what can we do here? So we did a couple of things here last time. I'm going to say here, E, let's say map, and I'm sorry, not map, it's and I'll use a map. I'll use a map for now. I'm going to say map here. I'm going to convert, I don't want to use E again. I'll say R here. And I'm going to say R dot, let's see what values do I have access to. R dot average. I'll go after that. R dot average. Okay. So that'll convert that to an average, and then I'll say here, reduce, if you remember that. And we're going to say here, there's an A for accumulators, A for accumulators, C for current value. And we're going to say here A plus C. And remember, we need initializer of 0. I need to pass this on to a value. I'll say here, let's summary, do that. Let's now do a console log with that information we just processed. Summary. And I think the goal is to get the class average. Well, let's see how far we get with that first. Average is 724, which does not look right. So I'm going to assume, oh, we forgot to, at the end, I will say here, divide by E, which is the entire array, and say the length. So remember, E is the array that's being passed. And let's run that. Let's go now to the report JSON 72.4. So this is how we can use that to process the data. The next example, we'll just do a couple more to play around with it.